Avocado.
You are now listening to The Young God, a podcast for the gods. Hey Young Gods, I'm your host Rodney and you're welcome to a very special monologue episode of your favorite podcast. Special because a very loyal listener suggested this week's topic. Have a listen to the voice message she sent.
Hello Rodney, it's Zainab. Finally settled to talk about the self-taught topic, yeah? Okay, so the first thing I had to do was I had to check the definition of self-taught, which basically means that, you as an individual, you're the one that took the initiative to learn something not in a formal setting. So basically, you can go to a library and get like a bunch of books, or like download a library on like online or like YouTube or whatever. Watch a bunch of videos and stuff. So I always didn't know what the definition was, but then like actually checking the definition I think really helps. Because I think this topic came up for me the first day I listened to you, and then watching this lady on Food Network. It's called Baked in Vermont. So basically she goes how she's a self-taught baker, and she loves baking so much that she built a baking school beside her house. So basically, she taught herself how to bake. So passionate about it that she started teaching other people how to bake. And then so much so that now she has a thing on Food Network now. So it's so interesting to me because like I always used to think that being self-taught meant that you couldn't reach a certain level of professionalism, like you couldn't be recognized for certain things. You get basically how teaching yourself something doesn't necessarily mean that you're teaching yourself just because of a hobby. You can literally teach yourself basically how to fish, for instance, and become and have like a fishery, not a fishery, or like become a fishmonger rather, and like make serious money out of teaching yourself like something or being recognized, depending on what you want to get out of it, basically.
You may have heard baby sounds in the audio clip. That's because Zainab is the new mother of a beautiful, beautiful baby boy. I've met him, trust me. He's that kind of baby that gets your ovaries buzzing. He is beautiful. But back to the matter. This topic is special to me because I am self-taught in many things. My entire career has been built on the things I taught myself to do. And I learned these skills before online courses became a thing. This was way back in 2008. I was 18 when I first taught myself Photoshop, graphic design, and video editing. Then I progressed to music production, songwriting, and creative writing. Then I progressed to photography, web design, and blogging. Then I learned branding, marketing, public speaking, and now podcasting. I'm currently trying to teach myself investing and entrepreneurship. And only God knows what's next. But if you're wondering how and why I've been able to sink my teeth into multiple pies, is because I have a lot of energy. I can't stay in one place and I'm endlessly curious. And as much as I've been able to teach myself, there are a lot of things I failed woefully at learning on my own. I failed at learning to code. Oh, I wish I could do that. Learning the saxophone, learning the piano, creating beats and instrumentals on a quality level, digital painting on my computer, and a whole lot of other stuff. I'm saying all of this to show that this topic is indeed dear to my heart, and Zainab, you couldn't have picked a better, theme for this week. Now, there's a lot to unpack from her voice notes, but the first thing to know is that there is an actual word for one who excels at self-teaching. It's called autodidact. That's A-U-T-O, auto, D-I-D-A-C, didact. It's one word. It comes from the Greek word for self, which is autos, and the Greek word for teaching, which is didactos. There's even a whole movement called autodidactism, which is defined as education without the formal guidance of masters or institutions. Generally, autodidacts are individuals who choose the subject they will study, their studying material, and their studying rhythm and time. So I guess that clears the air on that subject. But one of the things I picked from Zainab's voice note is that she always used to think that being self-taught meant that you couldn't retain a certain level of professionalism, rise to the top of your field. Funny thing is, most people seem to think that way. But the tea is that many of history's most notable contributions were made by autodidacts. Across every field, I'm talking about Steve Jobs, Mark Twain, Leonardo da Vinci, Malcolm X, Thomas Edison, Frida Kahlo, Van Gogh, Basquiat, James Cameron, Hans Zimmer, Eminem, Steven Spielberg, Charles Darwin, Abraham Lincoln. I could go on. So let us dead that myth this very moment. And I remember early in my photography career, after I moved back to Nigeria, whenever I told potential clients I was self-taught, they would look down on me. They assumed that my teaching myself photography meant that the quality of my work was below par. And that got me fucked up because I was so proud of the fact that I was able to teach myself a valuable skill. And I would mention it at every opportunity, not knowing that they were using it to judge me harshly. I also remember someone advising me to go back to school and get a professional course or degree in photography so as to package my expertise. And I would think to myself, have you seen my work, bro? They don't teach this in school, man. No, seriously, you should check out my photography at GodXPhoto on Instagram. This is not just talk, this is not a game. In saner claims, my work would speak for itself. But it actually took some international recognition, but eventually, Nigerians came around. Another thing Zainab mentioned is how she realized that being self-taught doesn't just apply to hobbies like gardening or knitting, but also to entire careers. Again, I would point to myself or any of the superstars I mentioned earlier who have changed the world of autodidactism. For me, as a young man, I had energy and I actually wanted to be good at something. I used to draw comics as a child in secondary and primary school, but my parents and teachers took that out of me. It wasn't funny. As a result, I didn't have a lot of natural talent in my late teens, but that creative energy, that inner child was desperate to be released, so I would just sink myself into anything that caught my attention. Thank God for the internet, for YouTube, for those nameless people who wrote tutorials and posted them online, because without all of that, I doubt I'd be here today. It was truly a perfect storm where opportunity met energy, met curiosity, met excess free time. And I'm truly grateful that I was there for it, because I would not be here today without the long trail of skills I started learning from 2008. Welcome back. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking to yourself, jack of all trades, but master of none, right? Well, what if I told you that the complete quote is actually jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than a master of one? Let me repeat it just in case those in the back missed it. Jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than a master of one. So it just goes to show how much we've been confused by people who give us the incomplete version of quotes just to, fit their agenda. There are many reasons I could give as to why you should have as many skills as you can manage, but I'll limit it to the main one that fits the age of Corona we're in right now. Are you familiar with the term multihyphenate? That is MULTI, multi, hyphen, 8. Multihyphenate. It's not in any of our dictionaries yet, but it's a very important one that a lot of people will be using in the future. A multi-hyphenate is someone who has made a lifestyle or career out of multiple skills, using them simultaneously. Usually, when we think of a person having multiple streams of income, we think side hustle. But that's not what this is. When it comes to multi-hyphenate, nothing is on the side. All hustles are front and center and given equal value and importance. This is a deliberate positioning of your skills and income streams into one professional brand identity. You become something of a career chameleon, switching effortlessly between skills on an as-needed basis. These days, when someone asks me, Rodney, what do you do? I take a deep breath, I brace myself, and I say, I'm a brand strategist, photographer, podcaster. That's multi-hyphenate. Literally a hyphenation of my multiple roles and multiple skills and multiple occupations. I've met a makeup artist, influencer, accountant. I know a lawyer, model, blogger. There are multiple actor, director, entrepreneurs out there in Hollywood. Even the most random ones like digital strategist, ice skater. Yeah, there is such a person out there who has that on their resume. But it's all about putting all your prominent skills front and center, regardless of the audience. Let it be known. Let them know. Let whoever cares to know that you can get it multiple ways. That's what's up. I describe myself as a brand strategist, photographer, podcaster, and I try to split my time equally through these three areas. It's tricky to manage, I'll admit, but I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty adaptable, so I manage. I decided to do this because, quite frankly, I'm good at more than one thing, and I want to spend my time doing the things I love when it's possible to do so. A long time ago, I read somewhere that the future belongs to those who can learn multiple skills and combine them in creative ways. That future is here. It's no longer about just being a specialist or acquiring skills for fun. It's about being a specialist at your combination of skills. Do you get what I'm saying? It's about being a specialist at the particular combination of skills you have. So right now, I'm the only brand strategist, photographer, podcaster that I know of. Hell, that you know of. These are skills that go hand in hand and are valuable in my industry, and I can apply at any time, anywhere. I'm a unicorn, and you don't even know it. The future belongs to those who can learn multiple skills and combine them in creative ways. That future is here. I repeat this statement to make another very important point. Since the pandemic hit, jobs have been taken away from traditional specialists, which means if you're only capable of doing one thing or even two things, you will likely be suffering at this time. Even those whose jobs are still intact still have to deal with the significantly reduced fees they can charge because few people are able to pay what they normally would for their services. Corona has hit us all hard. So this means that you would need to have multiple income streams to make up the difference, to maintain your current lifestyle. Which means that this is without a doubt the best time to have as many skills as possible in your back pocket. So I'll give you an example, right? Before the pandemic, the last time I picked up my camera was in July last year. Now, during the pandemic, I was able to fall back on my photography skills and secure three paying projects between May and April. Unlike most people, I am built to thrive in this most uncertain time because I have a lot of skills in my arsenal. And let's say that by some coincidence, none of the skills I currently have are valuable to anyone at this time. I wouldn't break a sweat because I'm an autodidact. Teaching myself new skills is slight work. And let's say that by some coincidence, none of the skills I currently have are valuable to anyone at this time. I wouldn't break a sweat because I'm an autodidact. Teaching myself new skills is slight work. I would simply figure out what the market needed and get in there. All that aside, people underestimate the emptiness that comes with dedicating themselves to a single pursuit their entire lives. People don't often realize that specialization is exhausting. Many talented people burn out before their time because they narrowed their life to one thing. Why do you think many people develop depression after they retire, or even while they're still doing the job? Why do you think many refuse to retire at all? It's because they have no options, nothing to turn to, nothing to switch between. So, yeah, apart from the obvious economic value of having multiple skills, having a variety of personal and professional interests is the actual shit in this life. It's called having range. Speaking for myself, having range allows me to switch between things without burning out. It gives me options in terms of my earning capability, and it widens my network. It unlocks depths of creativity that I wouldn't have access to on a normal day because of the constant switching back and forth between skills. It's really the gift that keeps on giving. To conclude, I will leave you with these words of wisdom from the young God himself. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. If you want to be good, master a skill. If you want to be great, master a field. If you want to be a god, master yourself. Oh my gosh. So Zainab, dear Zainab, I hope that with these few points of mine, I have given you something to think about. Thank you for recommending this. Thank you for this, because creativity and mastery are actually my favorite things to talk about. I could go on all day, every day. So if you would like to continue this conversation, guys, my DMs are open. I'm on Twitter at IamTheYoungGod and Instagram at TheYoungGodPod. Thanks for listening, and see you next week for the season finale. This is The Young God. If you made it to the end of this episode, you're a real one. Thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, there's a whole lot more where that came from. Just scroll down, you'll see all the range of topics, guests, stories, whatever. I've put in some work for you guys, so there's something for everyone. I release episodes every Saturday at midnight, and depending on my mood, I might release 2 or 3. You know, I can be generous like that. So don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you feel so inspired. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and follow the podcast on Instagram at TheYoungGodPod and Twitter at IamTheYoungGod for exclusive content. And just, we're in this, man. Thanks again. Rodney Mokache out.